okay?
Yeah, you sound really good. Yeah, got the
Yes.
stream started. Sometimes I don't know. Do you get it? Did you get a new computer? Because I've had to adjust yours before with the I could hear the fan come on quite a bit, but it's sounding good. So
Same
welcome.
computer.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to watch. Sometimes I may have to adjust a setting. Sometimes it gets I hate to hear the fan on my side, but yeah. So Win, welcome. Dennis Eversen here. I'm here with Wen Chen. I met you last year when you were on Changing Times with Lynn Morris. He just left. We just finished a show with him, and when you shared, the thing that really spoke to me was just your heart for your people, for your country, just a desire for people to know truth, and to just have freedom, really. And so there's a lot happening in the world, and a lot of it is being affected. And we see things that, like the Communist Chinese Party is a part of, things that they're doing, things that America's doing in response, and all these different things. And so I wanted to have you on and just give you an opportunity to share what you've been doing, what you've been seeing, and just give a little insight. So, say hi to everybody, give a little introduction to yourself, and then go ahead and share.
Hi everyone, my name is Wen Chen. I was born and raised in China, and I came to the United States in 1994 for graduate school. And I was very fortunate that I had the opportunity to leave China and get a full scholarship to come to study for my PhD degree. And it was also during my graduate school I learned about the truth about China. Because when I was in China, all the news I read, right, was censored by the government. So I was a completely brainwashed Chinese student. And I came to the United States. My American colleagues told me about the Tiananmen massacre, about the Cultural Revolution, about the persecution of Tibetans, in the 50s and 60s. I was really shocked. Although it took me like several years to learn the truth. And after that, I realized that I have a mission. I need to do something to help Chinese people and also to help Americans. Because things have changed a lot now. I think in the 90s, like most of the American medias would report truths about China, right? Like, most people learn about the Tiananmen massacre from Western media. Not anymore. Not anymore. Because nowadays, like every American big company wanted to have profit and they want the
Mm,
Chinese market. And they collaborated with the Chinese government and then gradually they lost the ability to report the truth because, truth would conflict with their profits.
yeah, I
So
think,
that's
and
why
one of the big places where we saw that too was during COVID, right? Where there's, it's like all this influence. We see it in Hollywood, right? Where they're
Mhm.
being influenced by these things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you're speaking about Hollywood, about entertainment, right? So yeah, like most people learn about China from movies, from news, from like college classes, right? But if the Chinese government can use money to influence all this system, then Americans are embedded in like a system that is carefully manipulated by a foreign government. It was
Mm,
just exactly like how I had my view about the world when I was in China because everything was shaped by the
mm,
Chinese government. So today I want to talk about the traditional Chinese culture I learned because if you
yeah,
look at my background, it's a
yeah,
Chinese channel, right? These are
yeah,
Chinese characters that people used like several 3,000 years ago, right? Then
yeah.
gradually the Chinese characters into the shape we're seeing today now. Each character is um is like a painting. It's like a to symbolize its meaning. It's like an animal. A horse would look like a horse, Chinese character. A fish would look like a fish in Chinese character.
Right.
So, like, when I was in China, I did learn Chinese characters, but they were the simplified version because the Chinese government, they actually altered the Chinese characters to remove their meanings. Like,
Mm,
this is a fear of the Chinese Communist Party was traditional Chinese culture because
mm,
they think any traditional culture, whether it's like a Chinese culture, Mongolian culture, or Tibetan culture, or Uyghur culture. Like they think anything traditional have the traditional value, and the traditional value is against communism because
Mm.
most of the traditional values they're universal, right? It's just like your
Right.
Western culture, like
Yeah.
European culture. Like we believe in truthfulness, like we
Yeah.
believe in honest, like you are
Yeah.
supposed to be, loyal to your family, loyal to your
Family, right?
country.
Family's a big
Yeah,
one that most
family is a
cultures
big
should
one.
understand, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like we
Yeah.
love our parents, we
Family
love
and
our
then
children,
good
spouse.
neighbors, being a good neighbor, hopefully is
Exactly.
part of most cultures.
Honest and
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
We
yeah,
don't tell lies, right?
yeah,
It's the same thing in all traditional culture. It's the same
yeah.
thing in Chinese culture. Like for thousands of years, like 5,000 years of history, no matter how dynasty change and no matter which religion you
Mm,
follow in China, like Taoism, Buddhism, or like, Confucianism, they all have the same thing in common. And
mm,
all these are preserved in our language, and
right.
the language is tied to the history, right? Every
Yeah.
character you write and all the phrase, all the idioms, like everything you speak about has
Yeah.
history. And the
Yeah, yeah.
Communist Party was,
Like, I just want to explore that for just for a second because it's something that Westerners don't really have with our language, right? It- So, like some of the characters that you're talking about, it's more than just a letter, right? There's
mhm,
like a picture involved. I know, like in Hebrew is one that I'm a little more familiar with. Every character is really a number as well for them.
yes,
So
yes.
it's so much different. There's so much depth and meaning with the words, the order of the letters sometimes, and just the culture that's preserved, the history, which is so important, right? Knowing our history is crucial to knowing who we are. So that's really cool. The different characters. Can you share just one, maybe, uh, just to give us a taste for some of that?
Yes, yes. I want to share the Chinese character of love.
Yeah.
Love, like, love of your parents, love of your country, love of your children and
Mm,
your spouse. And love in Chinese character has the traditional character has three parts. The
mm,
very top part means a house, a family,
mm,
right? And the bottom part is like friends, like,
mm.
and the center is heart. So,
Oh,
like, we talk about a heart, right? When you learn
yeah.
how to write the Chinese character heart, uh,
Mm,
parents or teacher will tell you, okay, this means your house, your family, and this
mm,
means your friends. And the very important part is the center, your heart. You
yeah.
must have your heart or you love someone, otherwise it's not love, right?
Right.
So all these like are in the traditional value. And
Yeah.
there are many stories about love, like people will tell
Mm,
why, the stories about friends and how you
mm,
love your parents. And
right.
all these traditional values are embedded in one character, right?
Mm,
And
yeah, that's
the words
beautiful.
associated with love. But it's critical nowadays. Chinese people no longer write the part because
Oh,
the Chinese government changed most of the
oh,
Chinese characters
oh.
after they took over China. They removed the part. So
Mm,
like, and people no longer remember that you have to have your heart when you love someone.
oh,
This is very interesting. If you think
wow.
about how they
Yeah.
altered all these Chinese characters, right? Superficially speaking, like they just claim that, oh, we want to make everything simple. But you can't
Uh,
simplify anything into just a strokes. Like, then you lose the meaning.
yeah.
And when people teach this, they don't know how to teach the part about heart,
Right.
right? And that's just one story. And this is very important if you want to understand how the Communist Party works. Like they don't just arrest people, put them into prison.
Mm, uh-oh.
They
Oh,
want to change culture
yeah. Sorry, you
so
froze
that, like,
just for a second. So yeah, but we're good. So yeah, they don't just put them in prison. They want to change culture. Yeah.
yeah, once they change the culture, once they change the history, they alter the history, they change the textbooks, they
Mm-hmm.
rewrote the stories, like
Yeah.
in history, re-explain them or even rewrote them. So when people learn this kind of altered history, they they receive the Communist Party's version of the
Mm-hmm.
culture, and then that's how they brainwash Chinese people.
Yeah.
And they use the same thing nowadays to brainwash American people because
Yeah.
they can use the change of the history
Yes.
to influence our media, our education, our
Yeah.
Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, when you talk about China, most people do not realize the thousands of years of culture, the traditional value is as good as Western value,
Oh
not
yeah.
any less, right? Most
Yeah.
people do not realize that because all they saw on the media and Hollywood was a Communist Party version.
Right. And
So
that,
this is a huge
it's
problem.
yeah, and what it's really important what you're saying there because this is happening pretty much in all cultures. There's this ideology, to me, it's a spirit that comes in and is wanting to corrupt and change and take away that value, that core principle of, family, that heart, neighbors, friends, all of that that's so important for a culture, for a people, for anybody, really, to be able to, to love each other, to care for each other, even those that are different from us, these types of things. And these influences that come in, these ideologies, in your case, the Communist Chinese Party. In America, we have all kinds of different influences that use different words and try to get us to see things their way, to buy into this system and all of this. And they're taking away from the reality, right? The history, the tradition, the culture, and that's a big area they attack is in education. You were
Yeah,
talking about the textbooks being changed. They do that here in America, right? They do that
yeah.
in Iran. They do that in Russia. All these different places where these other ideas, these other systems, and rather than focusing on the tradition, the family, how did we get here, knowing our history, good or bad, wherever we grew up, we may have some really bad history in ours, it depends,
Yes.
but
But
whatever,
history is the truth, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
can change
whatever
it.
it is, right? Whatever
Yeah,
it
whatever
is,
happened.
know it, right? Learn from
Yeah.
those mistakes, those bad
Yes.
choices. Don't make those. Uh, Take that strong foundational things, those positive things, and carry them forward. So important, and it's amazing that there is this ideology, this system, this spiritual influence, this thing that just wants to take away those things of great value because there's such great value in that, isn't there?
I totally agree because all these amazing traditional culture, I think they are wisdom. They're
Yeah,
wisdom, and we used to have this wisdom to solve many conflicts. We used to have this wisdom to, you know, this is to solve many conflicts among the world and on many conflicts in like individuals. Like
yeah.
we have such a huge problem nowadays, like mental health, right?
Oh yeah.
Homeless and
Yeah, the
everything,
conflicts in
drug
our own
addiction.
mind, right?
It's everything happening. I think the fundamental cause of this is like we lose the traditional wisdom. Like our
Mhm.
ancestors have thousands of years of wisdom, and we
Yeah.
just throw away all of them by distorting this culture, and distorting this history,
Mhm.
or just abandon them.
Yeah,
So
there's
I
a African proverb that I had heard where when an elder dies, you lose a library. Just
yes,
that
yes,
wisdom that's there. That
yeah.
yeah,
And that's why we have books, right? Like
yeah,
we have
right,
record all
right.
this history, and
Yes,
that's a mission. I like
yes.
in China, like for thousands of years, people think like educated people, scholars,
Mm,
intellectuals. We all have a mission. If you're
uh,
educated, you have the mission to
mm,
carry this
mhm.
wisdom and pass them to the next generation. You don't have
Yeah.
to be a professor. Even just parents can
Yes.
pass it to
Yes.
their children. Right? Children will
Absolutely.
pass to their children,
Yes.
and that's a responsibility of every individual.
Mm,
And now I want to change the topic to something more pleasant about
yeah.
an effort I have been joining in the past 20 years to
Yeah.
recover this wisdom and this
Yeah.
traditional value.
Yeah.
And it was you probably have seen it everywhere, the billboard of Shenyun Performing Arts.
Mhm.
And usually it's a Chinese girl or Chinese boy dancing, and they fly,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
on
Oh yeah.
stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You call it
yeah,
dancing. I call it, I don't know. They do so much. Yeah.
the tumbling, right?
Yeah.
So many people didn't realize Shenyun. It's about a Chinese dance and music, but it's made in USA. It's
Mhm.
100% made in USA because the company is based in upstate New York.
Mhm.
And I have been involved with Shenyun for 20 years. I started in 2007 or so. And
Mhm.
that was the first time I saw Shenyun. Um, I was really shocked because when I was in China, all the Chinese dance and
Mm.
music I learned in China
Right.
was about praising the Communist Party. And
Mm.
I saw people dressed all in red, right? All in
Yeah.
military uniform. They dance and praise
Yeah.
the party.
Yeah.
I just hate them because I just saw like they look so violent and they look so ugly. I say like if Chinese culture is like that, I don't like that. But
Yeah.
that was all I saw in China.
Yeah.
And when I first saw Shenyun in 2007 in Los
Mm.
Angeles, I was so shocked because
So
all
it's
my
so
years in China,
beautiful. Yeah,
it
just
was so
the
beautiful, so elegant.
pageantry, yeah, very elegant. Just yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
I was shocked in 2007 when I first time saw Shenyun because that was the first time I realized that the Chinese culture actually can be so elegant.
Mm.
And I saw the traditional value there. All these ancient Chinese stories were told in the
Mm.
original way.
Yeah.
And the face, the traditional Chinese culture all based on face because
Yeah.
everyone was either Confucian or like Confucianism, like or like a
Hmm.
Buddhism or Taoism, like all these major religions in
Right.
China,
Right.
right? Shaped the whole civilization. And
Hmm.
Shen did not avoid any of them. Like they
Hmm.
presented the stories in the original way. If it's a Taoism story, they tell
Yeah.
Taoism
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
They don't alter it into Communist Party version.
Right.
And they also told the story about modern China, about the persecution to
Mm.
Falun Gong practitioners, about like what's happening now. It's
Yeah.
like it's a consistent line of the
Mm.
history from 5,000 years ago to nowadays.
Wow.
And they were done in such a proper way, from dance to costume to music to backdrop, and
Yeah.
everything was like the top notch. I was so fascinated. Like I saw, like
Mm.
I want to be involved. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a dancer, no kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not a dancer, no
Yeah.
musician, no artist. But I can be involved as a local presenter because
Yep.
Shenyun, they are professional dancers and musicians, right?
Yeah.
But like, they just focus on the art part.
Right.
Local presenter means locally in every city, you have a group of people booking the theater, right?
Mm.
Arranging to sell tickets.
Oh,
And
nice.
then
Yeah.
like, you do the show promotion, like you have to run advertisement, you have to talk to media, like to carry
Mm.
articles and tell them what's going on to happen, when is Shane going to come, why they come, why do they do this.
Mm.
So I was involved in the work about like a local presentation, like preparing theaters and everything.
Yeah.
And I mostly do speak to media. So I remember like I was interviewed by quite a few media. I was interviewed by Los Angeles Times in 2016. I was on the entertainment section. That was so crazy. I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist. So to be
How does
involved in
how
entertainment,
does a
I
scientist
know,
get on the entertainment section?
I don't know. It was felt so weird, but like it was great. Like to be together with these dancers at the theater. Like I saw them jumping in the air, demo their
Mm.
movement, and
Oh.
and the reporter talked to me, say, "Why do they do this?" And I told them about the whole history part I told you
Nice.
today.
Yeah.
So that actually I spent about 10 years doing those,
Mm.
and because I think it's important for people.
Froze up just a little bit here. Um, Happened before and you popped back, so hopefully you will come back here in just a second. You might be able to hear me and you might not.
Okay,
Um, yeah, okay, yeah. So you're back. Yeah, so yeah, just froze up for a
great.
second. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to repeat that most people saw the Shenyun billboard. They just saw, okay, another Chinese dance music show. I
Yeah,
saw enough in Beijing. They didn't realize this is different. This is
yeah,
different. This is the one without the pollution of the Communist Party. And this is a very different one.
yeah,
So, and also it's an American company. It's
yeah.
100% made in USA. And it's worth our support.
Yeah, I've
And
seen it.
nowadays,
I've seen them twice, 2 or 3 times now. They've been down in Branson, so and it's just amazing. It's yeah, and until talked to you, really, though, I had no idea of the difference, right? And it makes sense. I understand it, right? But didn't really realize. But the beauty of it, the elegance, the pageantry was just amazing. And that history and culture that they're sharing, just so good.
And thank you for watching the show. Do you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that every ticket you bought
Hmm.
actually support the students?
That's
And
awesome.
most of these are American students, right? American or like from European country or Australia or from Taiwan, because it's very difficult for Chinese people to come to the US to study and join Shenyun
Oh
because
yeah,
of the
yeah,
Communist Party's censorship and the block of the visa and the passport and everything.
yeah,
So Shenyun actually is based in New York. They have their high school, private high school, and private college in
yeah,
New York. And every year they have open audition for
yeah.
teenagers all over the world to audit for Shenyun. Like if you're a
Mm.
good dancer or like you have the material,
Right. Yeah,
right? Audition for Shenyun dancer, and
yeah,
they will see whether this kid is black enough, enough to have this good music.
yeah.
And
Oh, hold on one
yep,
second. It just chopped up a little bit. But yeah, they have to be next level performers to be able to get in. It's not
yeah,
you think of like your elite Olympians or gymnasts and things like that. I mean, that's the kind of level that they have to be to do that. And so I'm just kind of stalling a little bit because you're froze up just for a second, but I'm sure you'll come back again. But yeah, so yeah, they when they have the auditions, it's hard to get in, and they also probably aren't able to perform for long periods of time because you have that small window of that elite ability because it's not just your average kind of thing that they're doing. They're doing top level world recognized or level performing.
yeah.
So
It's like any professional dancer or musician, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
Shenyun, they have their private high school and colleges there. So once the high school students like got admitted to Shenyun, either as a dancer or as a musician, and then they can get enrolled in their high school or college, like
Mhm.
depending on the age. And these are standard high school or college curriculum. You
Yeah,
learn all the basic stuff except like you have a dance major or like music major,
sure.
and they get like a standard high school certificate or college graduation, bachelor degrees, bachelor of arts. And then like once they are enrolled in this private high school and the college, they would get a full scholarship to cover their tuition, room, and the board.
Mm,
And if these students, once you get enrolled, doesn't mean you can join the tour,
yeah,
because every year Shaving tour to like 100 cities in
yeah.
like 3 months. It's like a one semester. It's a
Mm,
touring season, right? Like we our semester students have summer break, and
right.
Shenyun students they have winter break. It's a
Uh,
tour season, and the other 3 semesters they have regular courses. And the
sure.
winter season is like they're touring now, like from Christmas to like late March. And
Okay.
some like college students, higher like older students, performers, they would tour until early May.
Mm,
So like if you join the tour, the students would get a monthly stipend, maybe like a couple of $1,000 per month. But like you think about the room, board, everything
oh
is
yeah.
covered already. That's
Yeah.
pretty good as a
Yeah.
professional dance student. So it's very good benefit. But all this money come from tickets.
Yeah. So when you
See,
when
like
you
if
when
you
you go
buy
to the show, you're supporting the students. So
this, I
yeah,
said most of the students are
yeah,
American,
yeah,
like
yeah,
Japanese American company.
yeah.
So
And it's good to know where your money's going. It's good.
exactly, your money goes to support professional dance teachers, because the
Yeah.
teachers also need to get salary. And Shenyu has been around for like 20 years. You can imagine like the first class of students are now like getting into the age of retiring.
Oh
And the
yeah.
very best students become teachers for Shenyun.
Oh yeah, sure.
They become instructors, right? Like the
Right.
very best one are recruited. So
Yeah.
there are people staying in Shenyun for 20 years. Like originally they were dancers and musicians, then they
Hmm.
become teachers to teach
Sure.
new students. And I get all this money, the teacher's salary, the
Hmm.
students like a stipend, their house, their food are paid by your tickets. So it's
Nice.
worth to watch Shenyun to
Yeah.
support our students and give yourself a reward. And I also want to say, like, uh, these students, these performances, um, this is very different from any other dance company because most of the dance companies, right, rely on donation. Most of the,
Hmm.
orchestras rely on donation. And genuine, of course, it's good to donate to them, but they cannot rely on donation
Mm.
because it's very difficult to get so much donation to sponsor so many students. They probably
Right.
have like 1,000 students there
Sure.
because they have 8 touring companies. They tour to
Wow.
100 cities and they only have like 3 months to finish everything. That
Sure.
means like they have to divide into many groups. There are like 3 groups touring in US, right?
Hmm.
North America, and maybe 2 groups touring in Europe, maybe through some more in like in Asia. They also have a group staying in New York just in case, like
Mm.
someone get sick, right? They would
Sure.
fly a dancer or musician there to
Right.
replace that person.
Yeah.
So like it's a system like very well prepared system so that nobody is exhausted
Mm.
and everyone has enough time to finish their regular curriculum while performing, right? And this is just amazing system. Like they have been operating like this for 20 years, with the support of local volunteers like us and with the
Hmm.
support of audience like you. So this is has been like an amazing effort, like running for like 20 years. But now, in the past 2 years, they are facing attacks
Hmm.
from the Chinese Communist Party and also from our mainstream media, including New York Times.
Hmm.
And all of these, like, they started at the very beginning, 20 years ago, like when we hold like Shenyun in Los Angeles. At that time, Chinese consulate called every theater to cancel the Shenyun show.
Mm.
They called the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, that's my city. They said,
Mm.
if you run Shenyun, we're never going to rent your theater again. Because,
Hmm.
Chinese companies, Chinese, dance
Yeah.
performing arts groups in China also reserve the theater.
Right.
And that did not work because, the Civic
Yeah.
Auditorium said, oh, we already have the contract. We're not going to cancel that. And that year, Shenyun sold out. And theaters were happy. How many sold out show you can have each year, right? If
Yeah.
you know a show always sold out, right? If you buy a
Yeah.
$200 ticket, the theater will take a big portion
If
of
I
that.
have a venue, I want a show that sells out. Yeah, you can come anytime.
Exactly, exactly. So that did not work also in US, but it did work in certain countries like Greek,
Oh yeah.
and also uh, South 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 Korea. Like those smaller countries have
Yeah.
strong business tie with China,
Yeah.
and the Chinese government can threaten them to cancel Shingun shows by
Absolutely.
threatening the government, giving pressure to the government. But that kind of theater code did not work in the US, right?
Mm.
But but now they have another way to threaten the theaters, the
Yeah.
bomb threats,
Right.
anonymous bomb threats.
Yeah.
So last year, when Shenyun was touring in Kennedy Center, right, in Washington, D.C., that morning before the show started, there was an anonymous call to the theater say they placed the bombs in Kennedy Center and you have to cancel the Shenyun show tonight. Otherwise, you're going to get into trouble. And that actually, like, horrified everyone. The
Or
police came and
you
realized it
have
was a
you have
scam.
to take it serious. There's no other way but to take it serious, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And this happened to many theaters.
Hmm.
In Southern California, when Shenyun came to tour in 2025 last year, 2 theaters received bomb threats. And
Mm.
this is something like very bad for theaters to go through, right? Because
Yeah.
they couldn't, they had to take
Well,
it
well,
serious.
you got to also have law enforcement, whatever the bomb inspectors, all the different agencies that are going to have to be involved to investigate. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of
Yeah,
hours, inconvenience, all of that for someone just to interfere with something.
yeah. So that actually stopped some theaters from
Mm,
booking Shen Yun in
yeah,
future years. So this year when we have Shen Yun, one of the major theaters refused to, to give the theater to us because
yeah,
they say, oh, there's too much hassle.
yeah.
So
Too
so
much
this is a
trouble.
serious problem.
Yeah,
But if you think about like this systematic bomb threats to many theaters running Shen Yun,
yeah.
it's not difficult to imagine who is behind it.
Right.
We're
And
talking
they
about,
also had with their tour buses and as well. They have to have
yeah,
security, right? Pretty much
yes, yes. And that is
24/7.
another major effort for our volunteers in Los
Mm,
Angeles because I
mm,
have been all involved in this for many years. I know every year when Shenyun came, right, they always came with tour bus because, they tour in the United
right.
States. They have like two major buses, like,
Mm,
shuffling the students around, the teachers
sure.
around. So the tour bus have to be monitored every evening, like all the time, so that no strangers would approach them because there were lessons in several cities that like you know the tour bus were cut, the tires were cut,
Hmm.
and that actually was discovered on time. Otherwise, they would get into trouble, right? Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
really dangerous if like the tire
Right.
explode on freeway and it's going to stop their future performing. Like they have never stopped. They have to be there on time to
Right.
prepare for the next show. And we have to make sure, like, nobody can approach the kitchen preparing food for Shanghai
Oh
because
yeah.
we have the food preparing team locally provide food for them, right? We have to make sure, like, no stranger can
Right.
approach the food and everything. And it's actually a lot of effort, but I would
Yeah.
say no other performing arts company have to face this kind of problem.
Yeah. And isn't it
And
strange that what they're doing in presenting history and art and dance and all of that, how can anybody be against it even if you don't like the history or the dance? I mean, how does it harm you that you have to stop it? Isn't it amazing that something like that would be targeted in systematically, like you said, specifically targeted because of what they're doing? What they're doing isn't bad. At
yeah, yeah,
what level does this have to be stopped? And that's the crazy thing about these systems that get into place, these ideologies, these governmental ideas, and all of this, where it's like you can't even think differently. You have to be exactly with us, or we got to stop you. And I mean, to go against performing arts is just incredible to me.
yeah. And you can imagine, like, all this systematic thing running for like 20 years by a foreign government
Yeah,
on the land of the United States. It's like in
yeah,
your neighborhood.
yeah,
And these dancers are our American students.
yeah.
I mean, I have a good friend's daughter who have been dancing for Shen Yun for like 5, 6 years now. And she's now the poster girl. Like she was on the
Mm.
Shen Yun poster. And it's amazing, like, our neighbors' kids, like, are in Shenyun, they're performing, and the theater gets bomb threat. The theater, we have to monitor the bus, we have to
Yeah,
monitor the kitchen so that they don't get poisoned or like,
yeah,
harassed or like anything. And
right.
this is in the United States, it's happening to our own children.
Mm,
So this is something like we have to be aware of. Like, I just feel like many people didn't realize that this is an American company and they're harassed, they're attacked by a foreign
mm.
government. And the mainstream media is not playing a good role. Like
No.
especially New York Times. New York
Yeah.
Times has a long history of collaborating with the Chinese government. Just think about it, like the very simple thing, they still have their office in China, while most of other media were kicked out of China,
Yeah.
right? Like they have
Yeah.
exclusive access
Yeah.
news sources in China. And what is the deal behind that
Yeah.
to let them be
You,
able to
you don't get
operate
into
in
that
China?
position by going against that system. No, you have to be part of the system to get the benefits from the system. And that's how it works, right? If when you're cooperating with it, everything goes good for you. You get the access, you get the money, you get all this stuff. But if you don't cooperate, you don't get it. And they're definitely cooperating.
And this cooperating is sneaky
Yeah.
because they don't cooperate like the way the Chinese state media cooperate. Like, they
Right,
don't
right.
have to
Yeah,
100% copy the
yeah,
language of the
yeah,
Chinese government. They're very smart
yeah,
in knowing how to report it in a way that Americans can accept. Because
yeah,
New York Times has a long history, right? They have solid followers. They
yeah,
have the credibility for decades.
yeah.
That's decades of work to build up the credibility. And they have the
Yes.
best journalists, like they're very good at writing.
Mm-hmm.
So they can rephrase the message of the
Mm-hmm.
foreign government like China and
Mm-hmm.
present it in a way that Americans can accept and feel natural to accept, right? They would
Right.
still say, oh, China still has labor camp. And the government still persecuted some people, but not as bad as before. Okay,
Yeah,
Americans say,
yeah,
oh, wow, that
yeah,
must be great, right?
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
They, they,
And
they
the
would,
labor camps aren't so bad. It's like a luxury hotel. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's all
yeah.
nice.
And
Yeah.
also you say like labor camps, at least you give opportunity, job
Oh
opportunity for
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay.
You have steady work and you get some food. It's just
Better than nothing.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, it's
yeah.
just like this kind of language. When I read about them, I thought, wow, I say like Hitler's concentration camp is not any bad, like,
No. Yeah,
comparing to that. You
yeah.
can you can praise it if you use this kind of language, right?
Right. Yeah.
So this is really interesting when you read about the mainstream media how they promote the
Mm,
the view, the like message
yeah.
of a foreign government. Like they
Yeah.
can phrase it in a way you feel natural to accept, and little by little, they can change how Americans think about it.
Oh yeah.
And nowadays, New York Times, like last year, published like 9 or 10 articles
Yeah.
attacking Shen Yun. Can you believe
Right.
like they attacked Shen Yun by like reporting the lawfare the Chinese government is conducting to Shen Yun. And this is another part I want to focus, like the
Oh
lawfare.
yeah.
Because for many years, of course, the Chinese government hate Shen Yun so much that they are looking for every possibility to
Yeah.
attack this group. And Shen Yun is in upstate New York, so they have their campus in upstate New York, right? And then like surrounding the campus, they do have the neighborhood of Americans. They get along well, but then one of the uh, Chinese Americans in the nearby area kept filing lawsuits against the Shenyang campus, say, oh,
Mm,
they're polluting the environment, and this and that. And then
yeah.
that was dismissed 4 times by the court. They say, like, this is like, this is like clueless. Like, what are you doing here? Just keep filing lawsuits for nothing. Like, they didn't break
Right.
any rule. They didn't cause any environmental issue. And eventually the judge said, like, you can no longer file lawsuits anymore with the same excuse. And that stopped it. That was quite a few years ago. And nowadays, the Chinese government is bribing former Shenyun dancers. I said, like, some of the dancers retire after several years because they're
Sure.
too old, or like, their physicality cannot keep up. Then
Oh
they have
yeah.
to retire,
Yeah.
right? Like,
That's
naturally,
yeah. It's next level performing. You're not going to do it that long, right?
yeah. And naturally, like some people will retire, right? And some people will be unhappy when they have to
I,
retire because, you're
there's
no longer good enough
there's a
to,
lot of competition. There's a lot of personality. There's a lot of I am the best. I want to keep
but you're
being
not,
yeah
right? Like, they say,
yeah
okay, we evaluated everyone.
yeah
You are not, we no longer have you here. You have to
yeah
leave. Like that happened in every dance company. Nobody dance until they are 80, right?
yeah no
Most people have to retire in the 30s or 40s. And,
yeah
if you're very good, you get recruited to become an instructor. But
yeah
most people would leave, right? I know one genuine musician, and she's a friend, of my daughter, like, so like, she actually, after she retired from Shenyang as a musician, she went to Harvard graduate school to study, like, become a graduate student there,
mm-hmm.
which was great, like,
Mm-hmm.
because once you retire from performing arts or like sports, naturally you have another career.
Right.
But there was one of these dancers from Shenyun. She was from Taiwan, and she actually retired from Shenyun when she was like in her early 20s, and because her skill can no longer keep up.
Hmm.
And then she actually applied to stay. She applied for several years to stay and like re-audition. Like you can audition again.
Hmm.
If you retire, say if you really
Sure.
think that you can become good again, you can keep
Right.
up and then you
Right.
get opportunity. She applied for Shenyun for several more years, but she couldn't get in because she was still not good enough.
Right.
Of course, she went back to Taiwan, and then that's the interesting part.
Mhm.
She got married with someone from China,
Oh.
and then she and her husband went to visit Beijing, and they
Mm.
were offered a job in Beijing Dance Academy, one of the major dance academy
Mm.
in China. And
Yeah.
of course, you can think about the Chinese government behind it, right?
Yeah.
After she got this job in Beijing, she came back and filed lawsuits against Shenyun.
Yeah.
She said she was mistreated
Yeah.
as a dancer in Shenyun. She didn't mention that she applied again, again, again after
Yeah.
she retired,
Yeah. Why does
right?
she want to keep coming back?
Yeah, if she was feeling bad about that, right? Like
Yeah.
she kept, then she filed these big lawsuits. Like these lawsuits, like it was so suspicious because as a retired dancer, even with her salary in Beijing, there's no
Yeah.
way she can afford so many lawsuits. She's hiring like the very expensive, the top lawyers
Yeah.
to file lawsuits against Shen Yun. And that was incredible. And I heard from those who knowing her because she's from Taiwan.
Right.
I also met some people from Taiwan. I have some friends from Taiwan. They say like they like heard in Taiwan that this former dancer all of a sudden after she came back from Beijing, she became very wealthy because as a retired dancer, she lived ordinary life, and then after she came back from Beijing, she all of a sudden she started to buy expensive house, live a luxurious lifestyle.
Hmm.
And all of these like are easy to tell what
Yeah.
happened in
They,
Beijing, right?
they weren't paying her for her dancing, were they?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
because
so. It's
you look at even like past Olympians and different ones in China that served in those capacities, they're not getting these top positions and great gigs like she got so much, right? But because of the ability for her to be able to persecute Shang Ling, then they're like, "Hey, we got a position for you." Yeah, it's
yeah,
you can see how that the those forces work. That
yeah,
system that just such corruption and the big power is the money and the fear, right? You know, if you don't go along with us, we're going to hurt you, right? We're going
yeah,
to call in
yeah,
bomb threats. We're going to poison you. We're going to, attack you, destroy your stuff, whatever. But if you go with us, hey, we're going to give you a little extra this. You're going to have some extra access, money, influence, whatever it is. And that's really used to manipulate people. And for the most part, it works pretty effectively, doesn't it? For a
yeah,
lot of people well, you see whole cultures, right? Going
yeah.
along with it, the whole industries and stuff. Yeah.
And New York Times perfectly picked up
Mm,
all these stories. Like,
yeah.
to
Yeah.
tell the story in the Chinese government way, right? They would say, oh, Xiaoyu mistreated the dancers.
Mm,
They make them
mm,
work so hard.
yeah.
Okay, of
Yeah.
course,
Uh,
professional dancers, you have to stretch
You work
to
hard.
improve your flexibility. You have to like do all this kind of jump leap to improve your physicality, your strength. Otherwise, you cannot tumble on stage. It's just
Yep.
like a professional dancer or like gymnasts, like
Oh
not
yeah.
any less. You have to do all of this. Like this is a standard in
Yep.
the dancer community. Like all the dancers, they get injuries, right? Like
Yeah.
they have to recover from injuries. And Shen Yun actually was very good in protecting their dancers. As I said, like they have a special group, like a tour
Mm,
group. Like they have 8 groups touring. They have one more group sitting in New York so that they can replace dancers or musicians if they're ill, right? Like all
yeah.
of a sudden someone got like twisted their arm or like leg,
Oh
someone
yeah.
will fly in to replace you. You can rest. And if you practice. Like you get injured, you get time to recover from that,
Yeah.
and that's a standard.
Yeah.
But New York Times would interview this girl who filed lawsuits against James. He would say, "Oh, how bad it was, how difficult life was there." They didn't say like she applied again to come back, right?
Right. Yeah.
And like they would phrase the article in a way that to say, "Oh, Shen Yun actually treated the dancers really
Mm.
bad, and do not allow the dancers to leave." Come on, she left. She was not allowed to come back,
Yeah.
right? But the New York Times actually reported that way. I actually met quite a few people in the community, right? Like they say, is it true that once people get into Shen Yun, they cannot leave? They become slave laborers? I said, you're kidding. It's so hard to get in, right? My children auditioned for several years. They were
Right.
not good enough to get in.
They have to practice and work and train to try to get in. Yeah. Nothing about that
And
makes
once you
sense. Yeah.
and once you get in, like every year they renew the contract, right? The
Right.
contract only say you're going to be able to stay for 1 year. You're going to get
Yeah.
scholarship for 1 year, and after 1 year we're going to reevaluate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That means by default you can no longer stay by more than 1 year unless you're good enough to renew the contract.
Yeah.
So definitely that was like a totally false, like the reports of the New York Times. But just think about all these solid readers, followers of New York Times. They read that version of the
Right.
story, right? They
Oh
would say,
yeah.
"Oh, Shen Yun, child labor," because
Yeah.
child labor. Most
Child labor.
dancers
Oh
are
yeah,
under
yeah, yeah.
18, right?
Child labor. Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
That's
they
the
say
one
it's child labor.
yeah.
I work for Caltech. Caltech, every year their high school students come in to do research for Caltech
Yeah.
for free. They call
Child
themselves
labor.
child labor, right? Can you say that? Like
Yeah.
students would compete to come to Caltech to work for free because
Yeah.
that's an opportunity for them
And
to do some research.
what about like you're in California? What about Hollywood with all the actors that are underage? I mean, is that child labor too? I don't know what's
I have no
how
idea about the
how
actors. Yeah.
yeah, but how does that work? I mean, you got all these young people, they're working, what is that
Yeah,
child labor?
I don't know anything about Hollywood, but I
Yeah.
know all these top-notch university, right?
Yeah.
High school students would go in to do research. They would compete for the opportunity
Yeah.
to be this child labor
And
because that's how
they don't even get paid, huh? Yeah,
they
that's
don't even get paid. They're so happy when they have the opportunity to learn something.
yeah.
And when we talk about the Shen Yun, these are professional dancers. Like they're
Hmm.
high school students or college students, like high school students, yes, under 18. They got a
And
full scholarship. It's
they
equivalent to
a
100K per
a
year.
contract, a legal contract, all that. Yeah. So,
Yeah, they're not child labor. If you
no.
can get paid 100K per year, you know, oh no, 100K, yeah, per year, you are happy.
Yeah.
There's not many people can get this kind of stipend,
Yeah.
this kind of opportunity. But I just think about how New York Times distorted
Mm.
the story. And they also interviewed other performers who retired from Shen Yun. I know another musician who retired from Shen Yun, right? And they interviewed him. They said, "Oh yeah, life is not easy there. You have to keep up. Like I was used to be the first violin, but then I was not good enough. I was, laid off." But
Yeah.
of course he was not happy, right?
Right.
He's still a professional violinist.
Right.
He performs, by himself, but not with Shen Yun. Then he loses his halo, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
um, he was not happy that he had to leave. But then New York Times said, "Oh, he had such a better time in Shen Yun, blah blah blah," and he was so furious after reading the article. So he said, like, that was not what I meant. Why
Yeah.
said I was not happy? I was not happy that I had to leave.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that I was not happy when I
He
was there.
wanted to stay. It wasn't that he was sad about being there. He wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah.
yeah. He actually posted this on X, on
Mm,
Twitter
yeah.
after the interview. Said like New York Times distorted my words. Like I was not happy. Yes, I was not happy, but not because of Shen Yun, but because I was not good enough to stay there. Right?
Right.
Nobody would be happy if you're not
Nobody.
good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody would be happy. You just say like I'm
I
not
want to
good
be
enough.
the best, not one of the best, right? Almost
Yeah,
or almost the best. I want to be right there. Yeah. So who's happy
yeah.
when
But
they?
that was just one example how New York Times distorted all these interviews,
Mm,
right? Like distorted these words. Like I have also experienced myself. Certain media interviewed me about human
oh
rights
yeah,
and everything. They distorted my words. I know that can happen to mainstream
yeah,
media because the writer can write it in a way according to his or her mind, right?
yeah.
And
Even
also the
using your own words, but changing the context, changing how it was said. Yeah, so many ways they can even take your own words and use them against you by just making it sound like it was in a different
yeah.
context. Yeah.
An interesting part about all these New York Times articles, they were all written by one reporter who is a
Mm,
Chinese. And
yeah.
her family has a strong tie with the Chinese government.
Mm,
So, so that's very interesting to think about. The New York Times hired such a reporter with a very strong tie, family tie with the Chinese government to write all these articles to attack her. And that is something very interesting when you think about the media
mm,
infiltration, like how that happened, right? To a mainstream media,
right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. The influence and the control and some of the things we've talked about, controlling the history, controlling education and media, the news, how do you get the news? Look in America now. You have people in America that support groups like Hamas or
Mm.
support someone like Maduro or so just all these different things where it's like if you really understand the truth of what this is, you're not going to support that because it goes against all the things we talked about at the beginning, right? Family,
Yeah.
neighbors, the heart, caring for others. It's just incredible how these forces, these ideologies, this darkness has to control in that way and gets people in those positions to do those things. You think about the individuals that's writing those articles with family so connected. Well, they don't want to cause any trouble for their family. If they're seen good by the system that's there and that connection, it's going to be a lot better for them and their families. So yeah, why wouldn't they? And they may even believe it, right? They may even believe
Mhm.
some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like you when you were young, right? There were things you believed
Yeah.
because you were taught it and you saw it, and people around you seemed to agree with it. And then, to know the truth is so important, to understand the reality of what's going on. And the time we're in is so amazing because it seems like now people should be able to see the truth better, right? People's hearts are being revealed. These ideologies are being revealed. The fruit of what they produce, what are they really doing? They have these
Mhm.
ideas. If we do it this way, it's going to be so good. Well, look at the people that have tried it that way before and how
Yes.
it turned out, right? We have history to look at. Let's learn from
Yes.
it.
Yes, yes. I think it's very important for people to look at history, look at the truth. Look at the person coming from the country, Communist
Hmm.
Party country, like,
Yeah,
their life. And thank you
yeah,
for giving me this opportunity to tell my
yeah,
life, my
yeah, yeah.
passion, and the conflicts I went through. I mean,
Yeah.
that's very important because we learn from each
Yeah.
other the truth,
Mhm.
and that also gives us wisdom uh,
Yeah.
to, to deal with evil in the future.
Yeah. Because we learn our history and then we can start to learn our neighbor's history or other people's history. And we start to look at them together and then we see those positive things that are there, those things that stand the test of time, right? Again, going back to family and just caring for others, all those types of just down to the earth kind of things, right? And then we look at ours and what was good there and then what was bad and right and how do we interact with each other, where in our history and how do we come together and then just working all that out is so amazing because I could never understand um everything you've experienced because I haven't, but if I listen to your story, then I can start to see it because I'm a human being too. And even though I didn't grow up in the same kind of thing you did, you didn't grow up the same way I did. As we share, then we see those similarities, right? We all laugh the same. We all cry the same. We all bleed the same if we get cut. We have emotions that are the same. Cares and worries and all those things. So being able to know each other's history and share is so powerful, and really gives us the ability to understand each other, to care for each other, and to work together. Right? Because if nothing else, we're all human beings. We were created, and we should respect each other's right to live and to dance or whatever, to share
This
things we don't agree with, whatever it is, right? To just be able to get along and love and care for each other.
I have to say, my American friends taught me a lot, all these
Mm,
years, because coming from a communist party country, right? Um, our minds were all polluted by
mm,
communism. Like there are many, many notions, like misconceptions. Like,
mm,
nowadays, if you look at people freshly coming from China, right?
mhm.
There are many problems. Like many of them have mental issues because,
Sure.
if you grow up in this totalitarian regime, you have a ton of fear.
Yeah.
Fear. You
Mhm.
know, for many years, I was afraid of saying anything different, disagree with
Yeah.
anyone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because once I disagree with someone, I'm in big trouble. It's going to be
Right.
the end of the world, right? I get
Right.
persecuted.
Oh, yeah.
We dare not speak the truthful like mind. We can say, oh, I agree, I agree. I would
Yeah,
not say
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
I disagree. That's
Right.
very critical. And learning from Americans, like learning
Mm.
how you talk to each other even though you disagree,
Mhm.
that was a huge encouragement to me. I say, wow, i can I can speak out without offending someone.
Yeah.
Because I was in communist China, right?
Mm.
You
Yeah.
say, like, if you disagree with someone, you attack each other
Right.
because you have never seen people getting along with each other, disagreeing on
Yeah.
certain things. They still love each other. Like in the Communist Party culture, communism is always violence. It's always attacking each other. If you disagree, you attack this person, and
Right.
the other person will attack you back. And you dare not say anything different, right?
Yeah.
If you
Because
disagree
because
with a
they're
group,
wrong. If they don't agree with you, they're wrong, right? I mean, and you got to
yeah,
stop them. It's this can't be done. It's yeah. There's no room
and
for disagreement.
that is what we call communism. And
Mm.
that's a communism ideology. Is like you cannot disagree, right? Like
Mm.
you kill each other if you disagree, right? And
Right.
people no longer speak their mind, the truthful,
If you want to be part of our
feeling.
community, if you want to be part of us, you agree with us, whatever it is. Yep.
And now I can say I disagree, but I still love you, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Amen.
we
Yeah.
can get along even though, and then we learn from each other. Maybe, I can't be 100%
Right.
wrong. You can never be
All right.
100% wrong. We're all
All right.
human beings.
Yep.
We have prejudice, we have
Oh,
misconceptions, and
so
we
many.
learn and we
Yeah.
gradually improve ourselves.
Right.
And this is something very, very important I learned after I came to the United States. I learned how to disagree and
Mm.
speak without attacking someone. I still try my best, right? Like, I'm improving every day.
Right.
So this is very important. I'm
Yeah.
very thankful for like what I learned in American, and I'm also proud to be an American. While preserving my heritage.
Yes.
From ancient China, and I want to share this wisdom with others, and I want to share Shen Yun with your audience because I
Yeah.
think there's such an amazing group of people. And whenever
Absolutely.
I saw these young dancers and musicians, I see hope for this
Yes.
world. I see
Yes.
hope. I see these are our children.
Yeah.
Our they will, in the future will be our grandchildren.
Hmm.
I see hope for this world. Like these talented kids, they're learning and they're
Hmm.
doing something so good for the world. And they get paid, by
Yeah.
our tickets to the theater
Yeah. Yeah.
so that they can be professional dancers and musicians. I feel very positive about the world whenever I saw Shenyun
Yeah.
dancers. They also have their platform online. I think it's called Shenyun Creations.com. I think they have some of their past programs
Oh,
online.
okay.
And I think you have like an annual subscription, like about $100 or $200 per year or something. Then you can watch the unlimited stream. of
Okay.
their training. And people can also learn dance from them. Like they have training courses, and also
Yeah.
you can see their past. Every year they produce a new show, but the previous show you can see on their website.
Right, and there's a lot of history in the shows, like you were sharing, right? Like
Yes,
the
yes,
performances, it's not just a dance or a show. There's stories involved. You're
yeah.
learning. Yeah.
Yeah, each dance piece, every show is about 16 minutes, 2 hours with 16 programs, and each program is 5 or 6 minutes long with a
Mhm.
story.
Yeah.
Many of them are story based.
Yeah.
So every year they produce a new show, means every year you see new stories, but the
Yeah.
previous year's stories you can see
Yeah.
on their website,
Oh,
and
that's
it's a very
awesome.
worthwhile
Yeah.
subscription. Like to if you like history, if you like performing arts.
Yeah. The other place to check out before we go is Epic Times. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Epoch Times is also a very good resource. But I mean,
yeah.
I can tell you the history of the
Uh,
Epoch Times in the
yeah.
next episode if you want.
Yeah. We could do that
Yeah,
because yeah,
that's
that'd be
also another history of
yeah.
media without censorship. That's a completely different
Yeah,
story. But I can tell
that'll
you the story later on.
yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, we can dig into that next time. Yeah, because that's, be informed, right? Pay
Yes.
attention, know who you are, know your history, and then learn the history of your neighbors, people around you. Check out things like that dance group, just consider if it's in your area being part of what was it, the partner? I forget what you said that you did for them, helping to promote it.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh,
I was just a volunteer, like we call the local presenter. Like a local presenter is a
presenter,
group
yeah.
of,
So
yeah,
so if
local
if
group.
if if they're in your area, someone that's watching, you might want to consider applying for that, or just
Mhm.
volunteering, helping out, being there, definitely get tickets and go. Yeah. So as we get ready to end today, last words, thoughts, things, hopes and dreams for 2026. That was one of the things you talked about with this group and everything. We see hope for the future and stuff. So whatever you want to share.
Yeah. Well, I would say Happy New Year, and it's going
Yeah.
to be Happy Lunar New Year soon, right? It's going to be the year of horse,
Oh,
and
you're the
hope
horse.
everyone
Yeah.
stay years of horse. Hope everyone stay healthy.
Yeah.
I have a stay healthy and stay active and be positive, and I have a lot of hope for this world. I think it's
So
going to be a
so
good year.
when does the year of the horse begin? It's
February 17th is a
okay.
lunar calendar.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's a
that's
lunar
that's the
calendar.
lunar.
February 16th, 17th is the lunar new year.
Oh, nice. And the year of the horse, tell me about the horse just for a second. Yeah.
Horse is great animal, like it usually means success and
Ah,
hardworking and success.
that sounds perfect. Yeah. So
There's a Chinese when the horse once your horse arrive, then you success. Like you
yeah.
succeed. So
Yeah.
horse means success.
Yeah, because you
Hardworking
got that hard work. Yeah, nice. Excellent.
and
Yeah.
you tree of success. Yeah.
Well, that sounds right to me. Yeah, that's awesome. So, welcome. Year of the Horse coming up. Happy New Year, to everyone. Thank you, Win, for joining me. We'll come back again. We kind of pop them up as we get a chance. And thank you for always being available. And tune in again next time. All right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. I'm
Goodbye.
signing out.